What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tiny Tyler, and today I have another video discussing logical things that just make sense to me that Pokemon hasn't implemented. I mean, they kind of have, and that is moves that should elicit a weather field response. And we could probably do a whole video on terrains too, but I'm just gonna focus on the weathers for the time being, because just like what they did with the max moves in Gen 8 with Dynamax, how you would use, I'm probably gonna butcher some of these names, but Max Geyser, and then it would create rain. Or you would do, what was the fire one? Max Inferno. I mean, I have it up right in front. Let's go here. Whatever the fire one was, and then you would use that, and then it would create a sunny day. It would create a sunny day effect. And then Max Rockfall, same thing. What was fire? Max Flare. That makes sense. Max Flare. So to me, it just makes sense that this should happen with regular in-game moves, and some of them already seem that way. So let's dive into them. I got a few options or a few ideas here, and you may see it up on my screen here because I have Blizzard. I don't know if I can use Cerebi open like this, so hopefully I don't get flagged or anything. But I mean, even the battle effect, it says right here, a Howling Blizzard is summoned to strike opposing Pokemon. To me, it just makes sense that that would then create the hail in anything pre-Gen 9, but the snow effect in Gen 9. So the hail / snow effect, or the hail / snow weather effect. It just makes sense that if you use Blizzard after using that attack, assuming it lands, that the hail or snow weather effect would then, it would then be on the field. And that's just that's probably the most obvious example, because one, I think when they did that with max moves, it was such a cool dynamic that introduced so many different new and fun variables to competitive Pokemon. And I guess I'm viewing this from a competitive Pokemon lens. Like I do a lot of Pokemon Showdown, if you've seen any of my videos, just mostly for fun. I don't do anything too seriously, and I do dabble with VGC here and there. But again, that's also doubles. I'm gonna say doubles because I do Smog and doubles. So like them introducing that feature with the max moves was such a cool idea, and it added a new dynamic to the game. To me, it would actually just make sense for it to be like that with specific type of moves. And that's just the first example. Blizzard being one of them. It just makes sense to me intuitively that it would create the snow / hail effect. It makes even more sense for hail pre-Gen 9. But the next one is Hurricane. Again, it just makes sense that if a Pokemon uses the move Hurricane and then it lands, it would then create a rainstorm. Because if you're using that move Hurricane, like, I mean, in the anime, when Ash's Dragonite uses Hurricane, it looks like it's just using Wing Attack, but maybe just a little bit more powerful. So Hurricane has to bring something else to the table because it's so much more potent, so much more stronger move. And again, like when we have hurricanes, it rains, there's thunderstorms and all these things. So intuitively, again, it's one of those things where it just makes sense that that would create the field effect of rain. And then with both of those moves, it would then kind of feed itself, because now you're getting 100% accurate hurricanes and blizzards because you landed the first one. The next one, I kind of had a hard time finding one for fire to create sunny day. But I have two options that could work, but one is more like it would be an interactive thing. It would be an interactive thing where, like if we, Cinderace has to be able to learn Heat Wave. Heat Wave, I don't think it should create like the sunny day effect, because when you're having a heat wave in the middle of the summer, or whenever it is, because I just moved to Austin, Texas a few months back, and when I first got here, it was like 105 degrees every day. It's not just gonna magically create a sunny day, literally, but I feel like Heat Wave could have some type of interaction with weather. So like if you use Heat Wave when it's raining, when the field effect of rain is on the field, then it could like dissipate it. So then it would like nullify it, kind of like how Groudon's Desolate Land ability nullifies any water moves. I feel like Heat Wave could, in a sense, work the same way, because if you use it with Rain active, it could nullify the Rain field effect, but not create a sunny day. It doesn't feel like Heat Wave, that type of move, would be strong enough. The one that like could make sense, and you kind of have to explore the idea of more mysticism and esoteric teachings out there. I'm deeply into spirituality, so the idea of like mystical fire, using that type of move, it's like, yeah, you're creating fire through magical powers, and because magical powers are really up to some level of interpretation, we could logically explain that mystical fire creates sunny day. That one's kind of loose. It doesn't work that well, but I don't know. I couldn't find another fire move that would actually work, that made sense. I mean, maybe Overheat, but I digress on that point. So that's just where I got. That's what I'm at with fire. And then for sand, I couldn't think of like a more. I couldn't find a move that was. What's the word I'm looking for here? I couldn't find a move that was more universal. So the one after reviewing them, that made sense to me was just Sand, Sea, or Storm. Landorus is new. I think it's new, right? What was it? Legends of Arceus. I think that's when Landorus was given that move. But Sand, Sea, or Storm just makes sense, and we could probably make an argument for all of the Genie's new moves. So even what's it? Wild Bolt Storm and even Bleak Wind Storm. We could probably make arguments for those creating some type of field effect, like maybe Wild. Is it called Wild Bolt Storm? Or is that yeah, Wild Bolt Storm. That could create electric terrain. You know what I mean? And then same thing for Enamorus's, whatever that's Springtide. I think it's Springtide Storm. That creates. But that I'm getting sidetracked. Springtide Storm, yeah, that could create misty terrain. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so Sand, Sea, or Storm seem to make sense for just based off what the name says, and how do they describe it here? The user throws scorching sand at the target to attack. This may also leave the target with a burn. So, I mean, it's not. Wait, no, that was scorching sand. The user attacks by wrapping opposing Pokemon in fierce winds and searingly hot sand. So it's in essence creating the storm on its own. So like, what makes that different from Sandstorm? And again, this is just kind of like my own personal opinion on the idea, because it sounds cool. Like, thinking about the max moves a little bit more, they brought something cool to the table with the different dynamics that they introduced with the stat changes and the terrain effects and all of the field effects. And I just thought that that would be cool. That would be something cool for them to introduce point blank period, and just some of the moves already make sense for that. But I guess there would be like a game balance situation here where, you know, Sandstorm doesn't really have a universal move that works for everybody, because Earthquake doesn't really make sense to me. If you're starting an Earthquake, doesn't necessarily mean it'll lead to a Sandstorm. But anyway, this is just kind of my thoughts, and I kind of want to share that today. So if you have any ideas, what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear from you guys down below. Let me know if you think it's something that's worth exploring. Am I cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Or are there moves other moves similar to Heat Wave that you think could do something similar, in the sense that they could maybe not create a new field effect or create a new weather effect, but instead interact with it. Kind of like how Defog gets rid of terrains, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, gets rid of enemy screens too. So that kind of thing. It was just, I don't know. Pokemon's cool, competitive Pokemon's really cool when you start to get into the intricacies of all the field effects and whatnot. So I just wanted to explore it a little bit more. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Any moves you think could work here? What do you think on the ones I introduced here? And that's it. That's all, y'all. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube algorithm things, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.